Thank you very much. We call this the Truth Breakfast Show. My name is Mama D. Solo and I have been here since 7:30 this morning, driving you through. Once in a while, we have the time. We call in a member from the national legislature to talk. As you already know, women have been making some marks. Lofa County has made some sort of history, and since the end of the war, they have sent two women to the House of Representatives. The first one, Mariamu Jaliba. Now we have another Mariam, this time a Fofana from Kwaduboni district and in Lofa County. We called her this morning to tell us about her voyage into politics land and of course share her views on some national issues. Honorable Fofana, good morning and welcome to the True Breakfast Show.
Good morning, Mamadi, and good morning to our friends in Radio Land.
Thank you very much. How do you feel this morning?
Very well, especially listening to the comments coming here, and most of them positive. So that kind of energized me.
Thank you very much. Everything going fine with your role as a lawmaker?
Very well, surprisingly. I was kind of nervous first when I got there, especially the first time I monitor, immediately after the election, I monitored Senator Taylor, and she was having an interview with you in your studio, other place. Atmosphere. And she said, you know, this thing about the legislature, it takes 3 years to get to understand what the legislature. And that was the one for me. I'm like, oh my God, now seems like I'm in trouble, because immediately after that 3 years, then you start thinking about re-election and stuff like that. But I think we learn pretty much fast, so we are catching up here.
Yeah, I can see. Normally, I always see your hands up. You want to make contribution.
Yeah.
At least you've learned very, very, very fast. So we're going to talk about how you led to this. What motivated you? Tell me a little bit about yourself. Who is Mariamu Fofana? I get to know you.
Thank you. My name is Mariamu Fofana. I come from Kwaduboni district specifically. I represent district number 4. And district number 4 actually is the biggest landmark district in Lofa County.
Really?
It covers 3 political districts: the lower part of Zozo district, a better part of Wanjama district, and the entire Kwaduboni. So it's in landmark, and maybe if I in population, electoral district, the biggest. So like I said, my father, Mariamu Fofana, was the former clan chief of Kwaduboni. He served that district for 27 years.
Wow.
So Kwaduboni politics, we now stranger to the Kwaduboni politics, because we grew up practically in that area. And having served the community as a rural communication network broadcaster, so I got to understand the dynamic of politics and how the culture has a lot to do with what our people do and say and live their life. So I had a very good understanding of that. So getting it. But Mariamu Fofana, I was born and raised in Wanjama City. My mother is Loma. My father is Madingo, so that will answer the later part of your question, why landed me where I am right now. And so I went to the Wanjama Public School, elementary, but eventually went to the Wanjama Free Pentecostal Mission School, where I graduated from high school, and then got training to work in rural communications network as a broadcaster, Madingo announcer at the time. It was very fun as a young teenager, doing that work in the late 80s. And while doing that work, then we were all, hit by the war from nowhere. And so I found myself in a refugee camp in Guinea, where we stayed for, thinking that the war was going to only last for maybe weeks, and then we would come back. Weeks went by, went to months, months went by, went to years. And so eventually I found myself, finding a way to, get a greener pasture. So I went to America, went to school there, graduated with a bachelor degree in information technology, still thinking about, broadcasting, and I was really into that. And eventually, after working with ROM for some time, I decided that I...
International Recommendation.
Yes, and coordinating, the African activities about that accorded me a lot of time to travel to Kenya, and Ghana in a refugee camp, Guinea in a refugee camp, work a lot with resettlement of families, reuniting families. And so that really gave me the passion to serve the people more, because it was really deplorable and how families were separated. So I decided that I will further my education. I went to Kellogg Graduate School of Management, the project management over there. And that contract with IOM ended. So I decided, well, it was time for me to do some business for myself.
Okay.
So I decided to get into business in the United States, open my own storefront, and it became one of the biggest African markets, very successful. And people that live in Newark, New Jersey area, New York, we testify to that, and that was very successful. And that business also accorded me the time to come and work a lot, because I was self-employed with my people in the refugee camp, and especially women and children, to see how be connected with them. And based on those interactions, the people in the district, especially in the Kwadubuli district, already knew my work. And when there was a need for lack of better word, I want to say better representation of them, they called me to come and serve them in that capacity, and it's a blessing that they gave me that opportunity. I hope I'm not disappointing them.
No, not at all. I think they will have to do that when we arrive at the next election. What will be the time for you to test whether you serve well or not? Was it really easy to get the mandate?
Well, for them, for me, I don't want to say this was easy, and this is why we've been advocating for the 30% women representation in Parliament. And just to retrospect a little bit on some of the comments that were coming, like, oh, Kwadubuni people, Vanyama people, District number 4 as a whole has made history sending female representation back to back. Actually, female representation of that district go as far back as 1974, when the district elected. Correct me, people listening out there, either 74 or 75, when they first elected the first female representation, Madingo woman also, her name was Haja Mariamu Fofana. Haja Mariamu Fofana represented that district until 1980 coup took place. And so, of course, we know our democratic process was interrupted. So this is not the first time that they did it. And immediately after the war, they decided that they would send Mariam Jalaba there. She served them for 8 years. I'm not here to criticize her record. I think by far she did her best to represent them. But when there was a need for increased representation or better representation, we were able to successfully make the case to our people that it was better for them to send another woman again. And especially the Muslim community and the Madingo community has been masculine. So very few women were allowed in the beginning to go to school. I can tell you, Mamadi, I'm one of the first generation of Madingo women that can brag and say that we have a college degree, not even to measure master's degree. There are just few, of course. I am on the first generation, sadly to say that. And so we were able to make that case to our people, to tell them that now that you have all these men, your sons, they're all doing well, then they can become town chief, they can become primary chief, they can become commissioner. And based on the religion and the tradition, those are jobs that are very difficult for women to occupy in Kwadu. It has never even happened. Okay. But at least we have a precedent, we have a history of them allowing a woman to come to government to talk for them. So we were able to successfully make that case to them. So as far as my people are concerned, it wasn't a difficult job for them to decide whether I could represent them better. But it was a bit difficult for the party that Unity Party to make that decision. So that the battle was, once the Unity Party made that decision that I was going to represent it, because the Unity Party was born in Kwadubuni.
Oh, really?
In front of course, Unity Party, that Biankesani is from Kwadubuni. So the people feel that the Unity Party is their brainchild, so they are very protective of it. They are all Unity Party. They were like, well, we will vote for anybody Unity Party give us, because we will not leave our party to vote for any other person, even though we might like that person, but we will still want to stand by our party. So the battle now really was for Unity Party to select me as their candidate.
Okay,
which we
so
did.
you got the mandate, now you are the people's representation.
Yes.
So in Parliament now, yeah, at the national legislature now, in the House of Representatives, how is it going with you and the other lawmakers?
Well, it's been going very well. Immediately, Mamadi, this may interest you, and somebody, after that process asked me, you are so soft-spoken, you are little known in Monrovia, how did you manage? So and my answer is, the strength of my voice, Mamadi, is not in the tone of my voice.
Okay.
Immediately after the election, the first time lawmakers met and we were going through the process of electing our leader, the leadership of the House of Representatives. After one or two meetings, my colleagues all decided I would be the chair for
The women.
not the women, but the chair for the bloc that was about to elect Speaker Tyler.
Okay.
So and they saw that leadership in me. They saw my work immediately. I think one or two meetings, and they decided that I would be the chair. So if you go to the House of Representatives of the legislature, you always hear all my colleagues refer to me as the chair.
Okay.
So I headed that group that elected Speaker Tyler as the Speaker of the 53rd the legislature. So and then after that, after that we also went to a meeting after working with both the Senate and our colleagues in the House. When the Unity Party decided that they will have the leadership, the legislative caucus, they also saw the leadership in me and made me the chair for the Unity Party legislative caucus. So as I'm sitting here, you can refer to me in other political arrangement as a majority leader of the House of Representatives.
Well,
So,
Unity Party is the majority there.
well, Unity Party, we don't have a clear-cut majority, but we have the most representation.
Okay.
And for both houses, both the House of Senate and the House of Representatives, I chair that caucus. So it's been a blessing.
And I just hearing that. So you know about that?
She's the chairman of the Unity Party Legislative Caucus.
Yes.
Oh yeah, I think she replaces Bobo Chimos.
Theodore Momo.
52nd legislature.
52nd,
Yeah.
Buffer
Yeah.
was there, and
Yeah.
then I think Buffer for some reason had a falling out with the party,
Yeah.
and then Theodore Momo, Senator Theodore Momo was there, and
Okay.
and then when we came on board, we had a
So
process.
when you were coming up, did you one day anticipate that this would have been the place you have landed, some way or somehow?
Not really.
Apart from the media thing that you were doing at the time.
No, not really, but I've always been a public servant. So for
Okay.
people that know me, I'm not that old for me to say I have a long history. But for people that know me, I've always been a community, service worker. I've always worked to make sure that, people come together. But to come to this present position, what really motivated me? In 2009, there was a fracas in Vonjama where there was this Maduro, Loma, infighting, as you may say, that brought a lot of destruction. I think about 3 or 4 people were killed, and a lot of homes destroyed, and it just really carried on back war, especially coming from the war, and so much progress has been made to make sure that our people are reconciled. But it was not happening, and because of lack of information, somebody just carried the wrong message, something, and boom, there you have it. The whole Vanyama was on fire. So we felt at that time that it was time for us that really come from both tribes to come forward to serve, to serve our people, to let them know that this tribal war, tribal differences is not going to carry on anywhere.
Okay.
That in fact, working together have produced great children, and living together have produce great children. A lot of great work is being done together. So our diversity should be used as our strength and not as a means to divide us. So you know, I quickly organized few other people that I know that have a Madingo mother, you know, Loma father, or vice versa, for us to come together to tell our people that it was not fair, it was not just for us to have to choose between our mother or our father, and that we didn't select to be, you know, born of a Loma mother and a Loma, you know, a Madingo father. That wasn't a decision that I made. I saw myself in that, and I don't think that any child should be given the opportunity to, you know, lose out, whether, you know, freely going to their uncles. And Lofa being a very traditional, you know, district, district county. So we didn't want to lose out on that. So we started to, you know, really explain to our people that it was about time for all to continue to build the bridges that our parents, our grandparents built, and that we will continue to work on that, and that they should give all the opportunity to do that. And remember, for the record, I can tell you, since my ascendancy, we work seriously to make sure that our people are reconciled. Right now, you don't hear about any tribal infighting in you know, Panjama district or Kwadubuni district.
How did you manage?
People are working together. Just by dialogue and engaging the young people, especially in fun activities that they can do together. And, you know, sharing, you know, common idea, go, you know, and I organize the young people to make visitation from Lazimai to Bakedu. You'll be surprised, some of the young people, when they left from the Loma side to the Madingo side, they just realize that they are all the same people.
But what were the major problem you identify? What was the major factor responsible for this divide?
Well, the major factor was, you know, the war. The war brought, you know, took a tribal line, and we all know that. We can try to go around it and say anything, but for us, it took a very strong tribal line. Lofa being a county that is so diverse, we are 6 tribes, you know, out of the 16 tribes that all live in the same small community. So the moment the war came, and, you know, the you know, different Lofa defense force, you know, being Loma, the Ulimo, you know, being predominantly Madingo and things like that. So that was a big factor that, you know, really fragmented our
So
people.
you think this has been eliminated among the people completely?
I would not say completely, but I would say about 90 to 95% of it has been, you know, erased now. Now that people are very stressed, you know, working with one another. Before I came into the picture, believe it or not, the Lomas will not buy from Madingo. The Madingo will not buy. Sometimes women will go, they were talking about market women. Somebody will go in the market, they want to buy oil from the Loma pricing or from the Madingo, where they say, you must taste this oil before I buy it because I think it has been compromised. That was how much the people did not trust one another. But we've been working with the women group especially.
That was very serious.
Yeah, that was very serious. People will not buy food from one another. If, you know, that you will have separate market days for, you know, Lomas and Madingo. We don't have any more of those things. I'm not taking credit for it myself that I'm the only one that did that, but we've been working with other people, you know, great people of the country to make sure, especially the vice president, who has really worked hard to make sure that all the nephews in Lofa Sante, that they work together. And when he established the Peace and Reconciliation Committee, I was fortunate to work with that group at that time, and we really worked hard to make sure that we have resolutions on how our tradition should hold together like they did before, and it should not be used now to divide or the religion and any other thing like that. So we are grateful right now. We still have some challenges, but we must say that we are making progress.
Okay, let's talk about the national legislature. We have some groups of them say refer to as influential, the big guys, the big men, who move things.
Okay.
Where you want to place yourself among them? You have any block?
I don't know if they are, you know, big boys or girls that are influential, but
the Emmanuel who is the Speaker Talo, the Ernest Snow, the Segu Kane.
well,
Those are the mover and the shakers.
We are all part of leadership, but sometimes, and that is very unique about Liberian politics. I don't know if it's like that in other countries, if I observe it. people usually judge your work on what you are saying on radio, especially in the media. But there are some people that are very good at working behind the scene to make sure that in the end justify the means. That you get to do what you want people to do to achieve what you want to achieve. So for me, I have not been in the media as much as the other guys, as you will see. But if you ask my colleagues, they will tell you that I'm one of the very hardworking representatives over there who make sure that we work together for the betterment of our people.
Is this job easy? Are you
No,
finding it very easy?
I will not say that this is an easy job. This is, but I'm not here to complain because I think I was prepared for this kind of job before I, really put my hand up to say I want to do it. But I don't want to lie out there and tell people, yeah, it's an easy job. No, it's tough because you are faced with decisions that you have to make that will impact the life of thousands of people out there. So you have to be very careful, and I will tell people that it's a good thing that they have some women among the men in the House of Parliament, because men and women look at the same issue but with different perspectives. So at least the men will admit that to you in Parliament, that whenever we look at the same issue, we always get them from the women perspective, and sometimes when they apply that little knowledge that we have as women, it helps to balance the situation so that it doesn't go often. Because men are so macho, they like to fight for everything. But sometimes I tell people, if I can fight and get a piece of job done, but equally so I can, negotiate and get a same piece of job done, why should I fight?
No need to
fight. No need to fight. So I should be able to negotiate and save my energy for the biggest fight ahead of me.
Are you happy with that? Because realistically, there is negative perception about your performance generally. In the public, the lawmakers are not good. They're not passing good laws. So you're losing the public relation battle, you might say.
Well, I coming from a media background, I was one of the first person that approached the speaker that we have a very poor public relation with the public, and that image need to be changed. The seeing of people in the public, we say, oh, the road on Jamaica Road or this community is dirty, this community doesn't have safe drinking water, they don't have good roads. Who is the representative over there? So, the representative is not working. But at the same time, if the representative asks for $1 million for development of that district, the same people will be on radio calling the fully lawmaker, they are corrupt, they just want that money for themselves. So now, when you ask that the representative develop the place, give them safe, drinking water.
Well, Richard, that's not the word of
wait, I'm coming.
Okay.
I'm coming to the point. Where do you expect them to come with the money to build good roads? Where do you expect them to come with the money to build good school and good hospital? They will be depending on the budget, because that is government. They will be depending on the same government, on the same budget that's supposed to impact their life. So they advocate for this money. It's not for the representative to build the road for them, but it's for them to advocate for this money to be put in the budget for the road to be built. Because it's not just enough for you to go on radio and say, we need good roads, good roads need to be built here, good schools need to be built here. You got to make sure that there is money available for the building of that good road.
Some of your colleagues only impress the constituents during the campaign promises.
Yeah, well, this is why now I think that was done a lot in 2005, and one of my friends told me, said 2005 was about availability, and even coming from war, people were not aware of what was happening. So people will go there and tell them, I will do this for you, I will do that for you, and then they realize that that person cannot do it. We were very mindful of that. We told them that we will advocate for them, and the advocacy is not just talk, it's to make sure to work. Right now, if you go in my district, you'll see that a lot of the farm to market roads are being rehabilitated, because we are talking, and we're not just talking, but we are making sure that money is available. Other partners that are working with our government to make sure that some of these roads are rehabilitated, we are negotiating with them, we are begging them, we are talking to them. Please go to S, Y, and Z community and see the farm to market road. If we're going to be able to sustain everything that we are doing in this country, we must be able to feed ourselves. Okay. We're not going to be able to feed ourselves if our farm to market roads or the feeder roads are so terrible. So we have been advocating, and I can tell you, for the first time in maybe 8 or 9 years, Lofa County will not be cut off from the rest of Liberia when this rainy season comes, because we have been advocating, we have been going to people that can listen to us to beg them to make sure that that road is maintained during the rainy season. And I just came day before yesterday from Vonjama. I can tell you the road is in good condition, and I don't think we'll be cut off. And we want to say thank you to the government for listening to the people of Lofa County. And that is what the people sent us to do, to make sure that their messages are heard. Whether we go on radio to say it, or whether we go and talk to the proper people that's supposed to do the work without being on radio. And that's why I tell somebody went to my district and said, oh, Mariamu Fofana, you're doing so much for your people and the people appreciate it. But you know why you lack? You never go on radio or on TV and tell the people. I said, who should I be telling? The people in Monrovia or the people in Lofa County that send me here to do the work? So for me, it's not coming on radio all the time and just talk. So Mamadi, if you have to do certain things for my people in my district, I don't think the radio is the best place for me to come and call upon you to do it. Because I could come to you and say, listen, Mamadi, you need to do X, Y, and Z for my people. Please help me do it. If you can do it, so then I'm blessed that you did it for me. Do I have to tell the rest of Liberia that you did that for my people, or I was able to talk to you for you to do that for my maybe, but is it too necessary? And this is why everybody just think that they have to go on radio or on TV and say things, and this is why this country is becoming noisy. So everybody, yeah. And that's why it's so people go and talk about anything and everything, even if they are not expert.
But why is it not necessary to communicate your developmental issues to the public?
No, I'm not saying it's not necessary. It is necessary.
Okay.
But it's not a priority for me that everything that you try to do, you are on radio. Even what you are not even trying to do, you're on radio. And that's how you grow people's expectation of, like people, the bigger thing. And then it doesn't happen, then you become alive. So I think your work should be seen mostly and not heard mostly. Okay. What good it is when somebody is on radio saying things and then you go in the community, it's not really happening. Versus somebody who is actually doing something in the community and that you can see, but you're not hearing much about it. Both is important. Okay. So we need to balance that. We need to make sure that when we advocate for our people, we should be able to deliver on those advocacies. That
if I ask you for 3 things that you want us as a country to do, what would be the 3 things you want to, at least a piece of advice or recommendation for Liberia? What would be your 3 priorities?
Well, I would think that first thing, we should be positive about what is happening. When I always hear people, either on Facebook or even call your show to say, Mamadi, you are wrong when you say Liberia is getting better. I think Liberia is getting better. The fact that we are able to even argue that, statement that Liberia is getting better, I think it's a validation that Liberia is getting better. Because back in the days, you could not even say that. You could not argue about issues. You could not lift issues in the media and just say anything without repercussion. Now that we are doing that, I think our Liberia is getting better. We need to be positive, because some of the comments that we put online about Liberia is what the international community judge us by. And so some of the negative comments discourage investors, discourage tourism, because people just think that everything is so bad. When I lost my father almost 4 months ago, my sisters are in the States, they've never been here for 18 years. They were so surprised when they came back and they saw all the good things that are happening. They've seen people's life have changed, they've seen a lot of improvement, and that was not what they thought it was happening, because based on some of the information, so they were always afraid to come. And they came here, and they were in the clubs, they were hanging out, they were doing stuff, and they were not afraid at all. And that was not what they expected. It's because we are putting so much negativity out there about ourselves. So we need to, that would be something that I would think Liberia should think positive. Doesn't mean that we don't have challenges. We have challenges. But who doesn't have? Even the great United States, they have their own challenges. I lived there for over 20 years, Mama D. It's like you living in a war zone. Every day my children went to school and they came back, I would get on my knee and say, God, thank you for bringing them safe. Because they've gone violent and, they gang, violent and stuff like that. Murder every day. We don't have that here. So, they have that with all the technology and everything, all the development. They have their own challenges. So we have our own here. And then we need to look at our own challenges and find solutions together instead of sitting there and always criticizing. I'm not against criticism, but let's be constructive in what we criticize. Another thing that I would like to see us work more toward is peace and reconciliation. Liberia, we need to reconcile. There are still hurt feeling out there about things that happen. People are pointing fingers and doing other things. So we need to reconcile our differences and move on. And that is something that we need to and the third thing, Mama, that will bring me to the third thing, is to make sure that we teach the right history to our children. Because the more we keep telling our children the wrong history, the more we'll keep having problems in this country. And I realize most of the root causes of problems that we have in this country is telling the wrong story to the people, and so people grow up not really knowing the true story, and then they just believe what you tell them, and so they go about doing the wrong things, such as thinking that certain people are more citizens than others, or certain people belong to this place more than others, or this land dispute. It's coming because we are telling the wrong story. I can't tell you how many times we have settled land dispute, or because Mama did the dispute start because somebody was telling their children the wrong story about that piece of land. And so when the true story come out, then the people realize that there was no need for them to fight.
What do you dislike about your colleagues?
Well, there are a lot of things I like about them.
No,
but what I don't really like, and I've never been afraid to say that, and and I'll never be afraid to tell them that is no need for us to get in the media when you have problem with somebody. You be the first you get in the media, castigate that person, bad mouth the person, and then come to primary and expect primary to protect you and bring that person down to their knees.
Are you making reference to Isaac Ruler, Honorable Isaac Ruler, with his interaction with the
No, now I'm not making reference to any particular person.
Okay.
But I'm making this general statement. I always say that we have oversight authority, even though Mamadi have always argued about our oversight right, but I think once the people elect on to advocate for them to allocate money, and if you give money to somebody to do a piece of job, you should have the authority to make sure that that job is done properly. So I still believe that we have that authority. And once you have that authority, then you have every right to call that person and ask them to give you the proper information so that you can make a decision based on information available to you. And don't speculate or just see something and just assume that that person is doing wrong, and then you go in the media first. Why go in the media first? Because Mamadi, the only thing we all have in this country is our reputation. So if you be the first to try to tarnish somebody's reputation, you know, of course, you put their back against the wall, they're going to react. And if you, and respect, it's not, you don't get respect, you earn respect. So if you want people to respect you, you have to be able to respect them. So that is what I always advise my colleagues, that we should be the last to speak.
Okay.
We should be the last to criticize. We should have all the fight.
Do you think we'll have another Madam Salif? Similar? Like?
I definitely think there are a lot of Madam Salif out there. But do I think that the men will give all the chance right now to produce another Madam Salif? I don't want to say no, but right now I don't think so. But given the opportunity, I think there are a lot of people. I mean, the shoe that Madam Salif very well is a big shoe. it's going to be very difficult for anybody, both men and women, to fill that shoe. Because Madam Salih think as a mother for this nation and act as a leader for this nation. So I would hope that we will have...
Maybe a man too would think as a father and I as a leader.
Yeah, I would think so, but most of the men always think and act as a leader.
Thank you very much.
Let me just squeeze in this question. I often interview when I was a legislature, and Mariamu Fofana, Jalaba, yeah, she was known for wise saying, parable speaking. Where is she now, and what is your relationship?
Okay. So we had a very good relationship. When I lost my father 4 months ago, she was here. She's currently in the United States. She was here to sympathize with me, and I visited her at home. There's no bad blood, and so we were fine. She
Wonderful.
Most of the time.
I will take 4 calls, so you do the same. My first call is already here. Yeah, go ahead.
How many Liberians are aware about what you just made mention today, that the foundation of the Unity Party come from Makamatu, where they come from the radical belt. How many Liberians are aware? I think that they could teach us to be a gesture and about how to move the rhetoric. And before I talk it up, the next thing you talk about, that is, no members going to the air and making statements, they don't go back to the parliament to use that bureau to defend our or to bring them and to bring their need out and just fun for us. Because then you'll be able to adapt people discipline, people character, people professionalism, and then you expect the cost to protect you. Don't be able to work yet.
Thank you.
So I really love your life.
Thank you very much. Good morning. Yeah, go ahead. Okay, I didn't cut you off. 077469794. Good morning. Good morning. You can't tell me that you be here. Good morning. Yeah, you're live. Go ahead. The line is jamming. Go ahead. Go ahead. Just a minute, let me get you on my loudspeaker. Just a little bit, okay. Okay, go ahead, sir.
Yeah, okay, let me take this. Alright, you like to walk away from the radio? Okay.
I gotta get though.
And I'm sensing you're referring to Senator Prince Johnson, your senator. Oh, okay. Okay. Thank you, Representative Tuma. Thank you. Good morning. You say your name is what? Somebody, you have to change your location because you come here distorted. Hello? Sorry, let me change this. Good morning. Hello? Finding it difficult on the line this morning.
Okay,
yes.
So let me just quick this final call and we'll go back to
Good morning, Mama dear. Good morning to a wonderful good morning to President Mariamu Fofana, the couple chair of the governing party. This is what we're buying and I'm for government this morning. Let me just join the members so I just appreciate the couple chair for the presentation. I think she just all learned some of the many questions that I would have to ask the people. That's what I've always been. Discussing that we have developed the glory to ourselves in national and individual so that we can individual lives, just like the prophet that we have made. But here to the ability to be seen and the fact that the she was there. That's about glory and cheers because of doing what she has done to be the battle here that she has made the battle love makers to reorganize themselves, getting big focus to the proof of the party. Yeah, that's not to be in the party activities because it makes sure you go from office to office when you have party issues, maybe
okay, thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Okay, Honorable, you listen to the callers, get your response as we go home on this one.
I just want to say thank you to you, Mamadi and Solo, for inviting me for the first time. Once I made this Friday, my first interview, maybe on live, not on live, but on through FM, and maybe I think that I see the camera here. This also might be live on TV, something like that. So I just want to tell you thank you for giving me the opportunity to interact with the people of Liberia and to throw a little bit highlight on some of the work that we're doing. I must admit that I've been a little bit shy to,
you did that disappoint me as well.
But for the young men who call out there that even though Unity Party, the ruling party of this country is from Kwaduboni, we have little representation in the executive branch. I'd like to meet with you because time is fast spent. We can't go into details with that, but I want to tell you that it's far from the truth, and that the government is now actually being formed based on region or district or things like that. There's more to forming government, but if there's somebody out there that have the competency and that have the qualification, they can bring their resume and we can look at it and see how we can best recommend them to the government to see how they can serve this community. And again, that is not something that we can discuss on the radio.
Okay, Honorable Fofana, we really had a very nice time with you on the show, not controversial at all. Thank you very much for sharing breakfast with us.
Thank you. And let me congratulate you on your studio. It's very beautiful. I heard so many people say that. I'm impressed.
Thank you very much for taking the break. We'll be right back.